story. It doesn't have it in hard copy, but have it in soft copy, called Ammon Claw and the Silver Star. And it became somewhat of a tradition. I mean, all four of us, I was one of those four kids, and we grew up, every single year my dad would pull the story out, and it would become a family tradition. And so I'm going to just read the first chapter, and I carry this over and I read it to my kids. And I'm going to read just the first chapter. If you would like, this kind of leaves you hanging. So if you would like the rest of it, I would be happy to email it to you. It's not a problem. If no one approaches me, it is also not a problem. So, all right, so I'm just going to read the first chapter. Chapter 1. The creature steals the star. This is a story that happens in our time. It is a story about 4 children, 2 boys, of course, and 2 girls, also, of course. The oldest child's name was Trist, and he had a younger sister named Prenifer, followed by another brother, Jernin, and their baby sister, Dossie. These 4 were the best of friends and inseparable in all that they did. They played together, laughed together, and cared for one another so much that they were growing up the happiest of any 4 children anywhere in the world. They were all born in the city, but their mom and dad wanted them to experience the gladness and wonders of the countryside. So they set out at an early age to find just the right home. Through a series of wonderful events, they found a little farm on a hill right next to a small lake. They saved their money and bought the place and moved in with happy thoughts, and it would be a great adventure for them all. Behind their farmhouse was a small fruit orchard that went up a hill bordered by a deep, dark wood. On clear summer days, the 4 children loved to run through the wildflowers and play amidst the budding fruit trees. It was such a happy time. When it got really hot, they would splash and play together in the water and enjoy the companionship of some friendly ducks and a couple of noisy geese. They had so much fun that not one of them ever noticed when things would suddenly disappear. Daddy's hammer would vanish. A duck would be there one day and gone the next. Toys that would be played with on the hill of dirt would strangely not be found again. Little toy people, watches, keys, money, tools, and even articles of clothing would curiously end up missing and would never be seen again. The children thought it was kind of strange, but they and their parents simply set it aside as a result of carelessness. They never thought twice about it, but if they had checked with their neighbors, they would have found out that the same thing was happening at all the houses in the countryside for miles around. It was a very strange event indeed. But not one of them ever thought about it. Not really. In fact, they were all having such a good time just living and happily playing together that they never noticed when a menacing, dark shadow moved quietly through the underbrush next to the orchard. They only once or twice felt as though eyes were watching as they walked together near the woods on the hill. Had they known what was really up there, they would never have ventured far from home. The warmth and sunshine of summer gave way to fall and the golden colors of the leaves. More and more time was spent indoors as the days grew cooler and crisp breezes blew across the lake. Trist, Prenifer, Jernin, and Dossie loved to bundle up and run through the blowing leaves on nicer days. And with their usual glee and giggles, they still never heard the crunching sounds of heavy footsteps in the darkness of the trees, not more than a few yards from them. Do I have sound effects too? Very nice. Sometimes the geese would honk and hoot for no reason at all. The dogs would bay in the distance and birds would fly up from the trees. But still the children did not heed what lurked so very close. Fall breezes changed to powder, the eventual downpour of coming winter rains. The excitement of school days became routine and holidays were the thing to look forward to. Halloween came and went very fast with all kinds of goodies and spooky things bringing delight to the children's fantasies. As the children dressed up in ghostly clothes and played like witches and goblins and even carved the scariest pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns, they could imagine they did not notice the sky became even darker than usual at times. The 4 of them went outside to play hide and seek before trick-or-treating. There was only the light, tiny candles burning in the pumpkins on the porch. Trist was it, and the other 3 went to hunt. Jernin squatted down behind a stump. Prenifer jumped behind one of their cars, and Dossie ran up into the darkness behind a big tree. Tris counted and began to peer into the blackness of the night, looking for the other three. It was an innocent game, and Dossie never saw the big black thing coming slowly from behind her, slowly walking with seething, slimy dark arms reaching toward her. It was just about to touch her shoulder when the parents turned on the porch light and yelled for the kids to jump into the car for the ride in the city and a night of trick-or-treating. They all ran from their hiding places with many giggles, and off they went. When they returned, they wondered what kind of animal had taken such a funny bite out of Jernan's jack-o'-lantern while they were gone. A few days later, their daddy found some very strange, scraped-up trees near the edge of the woods, but was given very little thought. Thanksgiving came and went with a wonderful feast, and the weather turned colder as Christmas approached. A gentle snow began to fall one evening just as Mommy and Daddy were about to leave for a date. All that day, the family had been putting up Christmas decorations, and they were in a very festive spirit, with songs and jokes filling the air. The tree was all decorated and in place, and all that was left to make it complete was to put their family silver star on top. The children were having their usual argument about whose turn it was this year to put it up so the star was to be left off until the parents returned late that evening. Kisses were given, hugs were shared, and off went the parents with Tristan in charge of the young ones. The snow began to fall harder outside, but it was warm inside, and an enjoyable Christmas special was on TV, so the kids all ran downstairs in the farmhouse to watch it for the evening. They never knew that the thing was just waiting outside. It had been watching from the trees. The star was laying on the mantle of the fireplace, reflecting a warm light through the windows. The children were right in the middle of their television show when it happened. The lights went out, and so did the TV. Prenifer pulled her blanket up over her head and said she was scared. Tris was laughing and said the lights would go back on in just a minute. Dossie and Jernan wished Mommy and Daddy were on. Tris suggested they go find some flashlights, and they were beginning to feel their way upstairs in the darkness when they suddenly heard a crash. Something had broken the front window. Prenifer screamed and Dossie cried. "What was that?" yelled Tris, and he grabbed a bookend and ran up the stairs into the living room. The door was open and snow and wind was blowing into the room on the carpet. It was cold, strangely cold. Jernan was right behind his big brother and the first to see it slip over the edge of the deck and out of sight. "Did you see that, Tris? Did you see it?" "What was it, Tris? What?" Tris ran over to the door and began to shut it when he saw the huge, ugly tracks on the snow. He ran out and looked over the side of the deck, but it was already gone, up toward the hill and the woods. Prenifer screamed again. "Oh no! It got the star!"